to the dish, although I like the shallow cheese, I like the sushi, cause it's never touch a frying pan. Hot like wasabi when I bust rhymes, make like me and mine, because I'm all about value. Burger campers got the mad hits, you try to match with, you try to hold me but I bust through. Can I make a break and think I like a sink and they can shake, I like vanilla, it's the finest of the flavors. Gonna see the show cause then you'll know the vertigo is gonna go, cause it's so dangerous, you'll have to sign a waiver. I can't help it if I think you're funny when you're mad, trying hard to smile though I feel bad. I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral, can't understand what I mean when you're sitting well. I have a tendency to wear my mind on my sleeve, I have a history of taking off my shirt. It's been one week since you looked at me, threw your up in the air, crazy.
All right, welcome back. Another week of the Weekly Rant, where our rants come to life. How was your weekend? How was your week, rather?
Well, first off, I'm Steve. He's Jimmy.
That is true. That is very true.
Amnesia last week. He forgets his name. I'm doing all right. My weekend was pretty good. How was yours?
It was good. It was good. Obviously, the Giants won, so I was happy about that. Except, I was watching the Giants game, and where was that? Giants game was last night. Backtrack. I was actually watching the baseball game, the Game 6, ALCS. And I'm sitting at a local bar, Old Street Pub in Smithtown. Great bar if you haven't been. I'm sitting down watching the game, and I'm not paying attention. Well, I am to my notes, and the girl next to me, she wasn't paying attention. She spills her beer all over everything. Now, I couldn't tell if I was the fool for writing notes at the bar, or if a girl was having a drink and elbowed it across the table and spilled it all over everything, to which I had to now spend money and buy a gorgeous book for all my papers.
Oh, important question. Was she cute?
She was kind of cute.
Did you get her number?
No, she had a couple of guys with her, but I bought her shots.
Okay.
I pluralized that. They had no grudge against it, so I says, why not?
At least you didn't punch her in the face like what happened at the Meadowlands on Sunday. So.
Did you know that guy went to jail for 3 years?
He killed a man.
Yes.
Without a trial.
Yeah, I had no idea until this morning. I had no idea until this morning. I'm looking at the post, and wait, this guy went to...
Wait, you
No,
read,
he didn't.
You read the post?
No, I look at the pictures in the comments.
Moving on.
Page 6, come on, man.
Let's get to today's rundown. We're going to talk about that Giants-Vikings game. Are the Giants really back on track, or is that just a lucky win?
That's a win against Josh Freeman, and that's about it.
All right, so lucky. We'll also talk about the Jets and their miraculous comeback victory against the Patriots.
It was very good.
And whether or not the Rule 9.1.3
Plan B.
Well, sure. Made a big difference as to whether or not they won that game.
We'll get into some playoffs with the Boston Red Sox now going to the World Series bound. Second matchup since 2004 with the St. Louis Cardinals.
And we'll talk about everyone's favorite chain-smoking manager, Jim Leyland from the Detroit Tigers, stepping down and who may replace him.
All right, our weekly debate tonight is going to be on the World Series, but we're also going to have some things to talk about with Tom Brady as well.
Whether or not those Uggs are still in style. I mean, whether or not he's still a good quarterback. We'll also talk about, your local hockey, Rangers, Islanders, Devils. And, before we close out, we'll let Jimmy rant a little more.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
If you have any comments, thoughts, concerns, if you want to talk about anything in the sports world, give us a call at 1-609-975-9689. Or you can tweet us at Jimmys Rants or hashtag TWR. You ready to go? I
am all set. I got about 15 pages of notes that I'm not going to look at once this episode.
You want me to spill beer on them first?
Please.
All right. As long as shots later. Let's talk about the Giants' 23-7 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. Going into the game, the hapless 0-6 Giants faced the equally hapless 1-5 Vikings. And Josh Freeman got his first start after being cut from Tampa Bay. And the best part about that is he won't catch staph infection now. Ooh. But now this victory, I got horribly bored by halftime. I think Boomer and Carton called it one of the worst games. Mike Francesa called it one of the worst games on Monday Night Football ever.
It absolutely was. It was terrible. I mean, how can you sit there and watch Josh Freeman coming in? The only credit you're going to give Josh Freeman is the fact that he chose to go to the Vikings because he knew he was going to land a starting role there. That's the only credit he gets here.
Well, he could have went to the Browns. I mean, he signed right after Brian Hoyer tore his ACL, but he wanted to go where Adrian Peterson was, and quite frankly, who would blame him? Unfortunately, when your quarterback is Josh Freeman, Adrian Peterson's not going to get many yards.
Apparently.
Which was evident last night where the Giants' D actually looked good. What went right for the Giants' defense on the run? But let's not talk about passive.
Yeah.
On the run.
On the run, they look good. Their front line, their defensive line was nice. They got to Freeman almost twice every 3 downs, every 4 downs. They were there on top of him every time, which is great. They got a piece of him. I'm glad that as much as they got to him, the refs didn't call that stupid penalty of putting their hands on his helmet and everything, because they always got a piece of him. Every drive, they always got a piece of him. The problem is that they only got 1 sack last night. They were coming into the game 6 sacks. That's worse than the NFL. Finishing with 1, they're just going right on pace. 1 sack a game. That's it. Their defense looked good.
At least they're consistent.
They are consistent. Their defense looked good. It wasn't great. I take it with a grain of salt. It was the Vikings. Again, I did predict them to win.
You did.
I'm not saying it was because they're going to be any good. It was the Vikings.
And, the one thing about it is 1 sack is, stat-wise sucks, but their defense seems to be in the backfield all night long. JPP looked like a good player last night. He made a few plays. One on Cordell Patterson in which he got burned and then came back and tackled him from behind. Mm-hmm. He looked really good.
Even Thomas came back.
Yeah.
Thomas came back 4th quarter. He looked pretty good.
Wait, Terrell Thomas was hurt again?
Yeah.
Again.
Surprise, surprise.
There was an article on Grantland 2 weeks ago about all the Giants draft picks from 2007 until now. And most of them are either hurt or out of football altogether.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Terrell Thomas, he's...
When they say out of football, they're probably talking about their offensive line and defensive line. Who's not on the field, they're just out of football. They're not playing. They're retarded.
Yeah, their offensive line did not look good last night. They were probably the one weak point of the game. Eli Manning still kept getting pressured all day long.
Yep, scuffling out of the pocket, getting knocked down, getting a piece of everything. I don't really care about that. You look at, even when he didn't have pressure on him, how many times did he hit his targets? He couldn't hit his targets. He got to get 200 yards. 200 yards against the Minnesota Vikings. Coming to this game, I said, you know what? The Giants have a great chance because they're facing one player, Adrian Peterson. Well, that's it. Who would have known that, who was it here? Marcus Sherrills.
That was ridiculous.
Oh my God.
That was insane.
I did not even think of this guy coming in here and doing what he did. I thought it was Peterson. That was it.
And then Steve Weatherford with that horse collar tackle down bringing the end zone.
I got a question about that. A horse collar tackle, is that a mandatory $15,000 fine?
I don't know.
I hope he doesn't get it because it was this much. That was it. Barely got him.
What I'm interested in seeing who gets to find that Indianapolis punter who went helmet to helmet on that guy.
How did they not call that? How did they not call that? That's never mind. That's the first thing I saw.
It was because he wasn't defenseless. He wasn't a defenseless receiver when he was running, and they'll call it this defenseless, but he was running up the field. If Adrian Peterson got a hit like that, the middle of the field, there would not be a penalty on it.
Even if it was helmet to helmet.
Even if it was helmet to helmet.
Really?
McAfee's going to be fined probably. He was already drug tested after the game. But it also helps when you got like 8 inches and about 55 pounds on the kick returner, but that guy went flying.
You laid him out. It was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah.
But back to the Giants game. Sorry to go off tangent right there. But, Josh Freeman was pitiful. That's the easiest word to describe him. 20 of 59. He is the 7th quarterback to ever throw more than 50 passes and not get for over 200 yards. He was pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, you saw his face every time he was going down.
He was laughing.
Oh, my God.
He was smiling the entire way down.
I mean, you got to imagine, and it's one thing I was thinking of when I'm watching the game, I'm trying to read his lips in the huddle. And not even so much his, just everyone else's, or just watching their body attitude. What are they thinking when he's calling a play? Like, yeah, this is going to work. This is all right, good. God, screw him. Just go to the line. We don't know what's going to happen.
What's Leslie Frazier thinking? I'm going to coach myself out of a job? Because that's what he's doing.
Absolutely.
The Vikings, if they would have won last night, would have been 2-4. And with the sputtering Lions, the sputtering Bears, and Packers, they could have had a shot to pull within 2 games of the division.
Now who's Tampa Bay's coach?
Greg Schiano.
Okay, I want to see him basically say exactly what Greg Schiano said. Freeman's our quarterback. Freeman's our quarterback. Freeman's our quarterback.
He was already told they're going to start next week. He is starting on Sunday. God. He doesn't know the offense. He can't get a time pattern with receivers. Out of those 59 passes, 15 of them were overthrown. Only 2 of them were defended by the pass. Every other pass that was incomplete was because Josh Freeman can't hit a target. It was pathetic. 190 yards, And the interception that was picked off by Roll. I mean, granted,
It's about freaking time.
I know.
It's about the guy who runs his mouth the most. Like I said, like he belongs in the Jets. Finally gets an interception. That's great. I'm just trying to see. I'm sorry.
Speaking of the Jets, they won. Yeah, they did. Shocker. We all thought they were going to lose. I think the Jets this year are 4-3 against the spread, and I am 0-4 when I pick against them every time. So just goes to show I can't pick against my own team.
Well, I finally lost.
Yeah, congratulations.
I finally lost on that one.
Well, what did you have to go to base this off of? Nothing? So it's okay.
It's basically it. I don't think anybody has anything to base the Jets for anything with a win and a loss. I mean, they're surprising everybody.
It's luck.
They're surprising. I don't want to call it luck. It's come to a point where 7 weeks in, I'm not going to lie, they look good. They're up and down. Win, loss, win, loss, win. They're looking pretty good. The stats are there. Their defense is there. It's good. Their offense, it's mediocre. But you know what? It's because their defense that their offense is prevailing. And they're coming in with the wins that they need to get. I mean, a divisional win against the Patriots. That right now, that's the biggest one of the season, and that's a no-brainer. But that's going to take them a long road down the road. That's going to take them a long way. Because you know what? When it comes down to a wild card, it's this game that's going to matter. The way they're playing this year, even though the win-loss, this is the game that's going to matter when it comes down to a wild card, regardless of what Kansas City's going to do, or regardless of what Denver's going to do. We know one of them's taking the wild card.
Yep.
But this is the game that really, really hit home.
Yeah, it was an excellent game. I didn't have the chance to listen to it. I was stuck in a car driving back from Syracuse, so I had to listen to the ESPN radio announcers, who for the first half were awful. The game was boring. They sounded like a TV announcer. But when it got to halftime, they really picked it up, and it was really enjoyable to listen to. And quite frankly, I didn't want to get home because I wanted to continue listening to it on the radio. It was just one hell of a game all around. Chris Ivory has proven he actually can stay healthy for a full game and be productive in the same. 34 carries, 104 yards. He came into the game with 34 carries altogether in the first 5 games. So it's a very impressive game for him. Geno Smith did not lose the game. Looks like Rex is finally going back to his Mark Sanchez 2009 routine as to make sure the quarterback does not lose the game for you. And, I mean, Jeremy Curley had 6 third-down completions, which he kept a lot of drives going, and he caught a touchdown, a little under 100 yards. It was very...
I'll tell you, the Jets coming through on third downs have been pretty big this year.
Yeah.
Especially with Geno Smith. As a rookie quarterback, you're looking to see what kind of pressure they're dealing with. Step aside the whole New York media thing. We know that, believe it or not, the guy is answering every question great. He doesn't feel under pressure. He doesn't get too excited over anything, using excited as Tim Tebow's word back in the day. And he doesn't get too distracted by much, which is great. But as far as on the field, what you look for in a quarterback is, especially third downs, what they can do. They want to extend that drive and not have to punt on a 3-and-out, coming from a touchback in the end zone, starting off the 20-yard line. He is gunning the ball down the field. They're letting him throw the ball. They're letting him be what they would never let Mark Sanchez be.
There's a difference. Mark Sanchez is not a good quarterback. Geno Smith was a good college quarterback.
Mark Sanchez also wears a headband.
Yes.
And he was also in the GQ magazine and this and that. Geno Smith is...
I wish I had a good song for that. I really wish I did. Or a good soundboard clip.
Maybe the Barbie doll song or something.
I don't know. Why would I have that?
California Girls?
Why would I have that on my iPod?
I don't know. You're a Jets fan and it associates well with Mark Sanchez. Geno Smith, though, he is playing great. It might be that time, especially beating the Patriots. It might be that time where a couple of weeks ago I did say about Jets fans, let it go. You can get a little excited now. They're playing really well.
As a Jets fan, this is how I feel.
Come on, how do you feel?
Don't stop believing. Don't stop believing.
I honestly thought you were playing. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I know. I'm a Jets fan.
I wish I really did have beating Tom Brady or
New England
Tom Brady. But the Patriots, Gronkowski came back. He had a very good game. 8 catches, 114 yards. Tom Brady still couldn't get in sync with him, though. I mean, 8 catches was great, but there was a lot of missed plays. The pick to Antonio Allen, who ran it back for a pick 6. Speaking of, did you watch the Jet game at all?
Yeah. One thing that I remember mainly from the Jets game was someone called Edelman.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was phenomenal what he was doing. He was dancing all over the field. I did watch the Jet game. I became a little cocky. Once I saw they were getting away with the game, I says, you know what? I'm going to go 2-0. I'm pretty excited. This wasn't even the game that I thought they were going to win at all. I thought that if anything, the Jets were probably going to win against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
This is the game I had on lockdown. They're gonna lose this game. I saw the score. I said, "Oh, there's no way they're coming back." Next thing I know, they ran away with 17 straight points. Oh boy.
What is this? Come on, you don't love it?
What is it?
I got this
Oh my God.
But no, the one thing I really want to talk about was Logan Ryan, the defensive back for the New England Patriots, who after running it back 81 yards for his first touchdown, the rookie decided, let's grab our crotch and do a backflip into the end zone.
Oh, sure. I call that the, what do you want to call that? The David Wilson?
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, I think Logan Ryan's got a little better when he does a backflip grabbing his crotch.
Oh, yeah. That's classy.
I mean,
I like that.
Pee Wee Herman's taking moves in a bathroom right now, but you think he's getting fined for that one?
Nope. No, but talking about fines, though, with the whole horse collar, that, I think, was the only fine this week, which is nice. Dominican Sue, I think, was fined 2 weeks ago, another $31,500.
Well, Brandon Merriweather of the Washington Redskins was suspended for 2 games for... Who did he knock out this week? Oh, Jay Cutler. Yeah.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, but Brandon Merriweather was the guy who caused it. So, no fines, but suspensions galore.
Oh, yeah.
But before we move off this Jets-Patriots game, because quite frankly, I want to talk about this all show. But I won't be that mean to Jimmy, who is Giants are still 1-6. But Chris Jones pushing the defensive tackle into the offensive line on that 56-yard field goal. Now, I have plenty of problems with the Rex going for the 56-yard field goal. The way they handled themselves in OT was pathetic, and they're lucky to come out of one with a win. But the rule was made, 9.1.3 was made in the offseason. Everyone knew about it.
It was only weeks after the Super Bowl. It was almost immediately.
The offensive linemen, they continued to argue for it over and over and over, and they finally got it. And the Patriots were repeat abusers. Apparently they did it the week before against the Saints on one of the field goals. They did it in an earlier field goal against the Jets, and the Jets told the refs, watch out, these guys are cheaters. And, I mean, quite frankly, we know they are. We've seen Spygate.
I was just going to bring that up. I mean, you're talking about the Jets. Of course, Rex Ryan is going to bring to their attention. Rex Ryan wasn't involved in Spygate.
No, he was not.
However, that was
Mangini.
Mangini. Mangini.
He had the best guest cameo on Sopranos ever. He was in the finale.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Right, he was in the last scene, actually. Tony Soprano goes over to say hello to the Mangenius. And then, Don't Stop Believing comes on. And that's the end. That's the end of the show.
I like that.
It's the end of the show.
I mean, yeah, the whole thing is you got to compare the Patriots to the Yankees, okay? And the reason why I said it, not because of championships, the spotlight and the attention is always on them. I mean, is anybody really looking at any other teams in the NFL to see if they're doing this? You look at Rex Ryan, okay, defensive-minded. He's going to look at all of this stuff on film, always, especially against Belichick. He did coach at Belichick at one point. Did he not? Yeah, when he was younger.
Rex?
Yeah, I thought did he not? Maybe it was the other Ryan?
Yeah, it was Rob.
Rob Ryan? Okay.
Rob Ryan was there. Come on, they're both ugly, so you can't. I understand the confusion.
Right.
It makes sense. Both look like elderly women with their hair,
Yes.
All the same.
But I mean, now the attention's always Rex Ryan is always going to want to try and be one step up on Belichick. Deservedly so, I understand that you got the rivalry and everything. But now that's why apparently he had said, or one of the defensive linemen had said, keep an eye on them. They tend to do this. Honestly, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Bring it to their attention. If it's there, that's fine. Let the refs know. You know what? Anybody else could have done that. The Patriots could have done that. Should they have seen the Jets doing that at all this year? They could have easily done it to the refs as well. And who knows on any of their field goal attempts. hey, look at the Jets, look what they're doing, ba ba ba. I give the Jets a little bit of credit actually going forth to the league and let them know ahead of time. Watch out.
Can
for
we
this.
rewind a few seconds? Can you repeat that one more time?
No, I can't.
Come on, one more time.
I give the Jets a little credit here.
Alrighty, let's move on.
What do you want to go on to now? Baseball.
Let's do some baseball. The World Series is set, and because of that, it brings us up to our newest segment, Let's Debate.
Boom.
All right, so, Jimmy, Boston, St. Louis, World Series, Boston knocking off the Detroit Tigers in 6, and St. Louis knocking off Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers in 6. Who's winning the World Series?
St. Louis in 6.
All right, why?
I have a lot of notes here, especially with this new debate forum we're going to bring ourselves into. We tried it out last week, speaking before the show, different theories on how we want to go about this. I look at the playoff format, 2-3-2. That is straight up in St. Louis's favor. If they can split the first 2 games in Boston, they're now going to St. Louis for 3 games. They got home field advantage.
All right, you're going to hit the bell? I'm sorry, was that you trying to hit the bell right?
That was me trying to hit the bell right.
Oh, all right. I mean, that was pathetic.
Let's call out the B spot.
All right. You know, I wish I had the music up quick enough, but I'm just going to use this instead. I'm going with the Red Sox. Good old Boston.
Shipping up to Boston?
I'm shipping up to Boston.
All right, I caught that one.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go to a little later.
Okay.
But I think Boston's going to win. You know what? I think that's a bunch of rubbish. Because, I mean, if Boston can split home, they can easily take 1 of 3 in St. Louis as well. Boston's got great pitchers going on. They have Lester and Lackey going in games 1 and 2 against Wainwright and Waka. Wainwright has proven that he has lost a game in the playoffs so far. And Waka, while dominating, let's see how the 22-year-old looks as a rookie in Fenway Park.
There it is. Just throw it.
Okay. We need a 10-minute buzzer.
One of those easy buzzers.
Survey says.
Let's bring Carlos Beltran into play. Carlos Beltran going down into history as by far the best offensive player, and it's not even close. The best offensive player in baseball history as far as playoffs go. I think he has, 19 home runs in 60-some-odd plate appearances. Mm-hmm. Fenway does have the deepest right field, I believe.
Yeah.
And they also do have a 412-foot center field, especially with the 15-foot wall. But they do have the 30-foot green monster. Okay. Beltran may not jack out any home runs, but you know what? He's been hitting, and he's been tearing the cover off the ball. He really has been knocking in the RBIs, especially last series. He's been getting RBIs left and right. He has a career .331 batting average in the playoffs. That's one player you really want to watch out for. Okay. If baseball is not one player like basketball, maybe some people say hockey. Baseball is a individual's effort, I guess, not so much a team. But he can only swing the bat once and produce. I think he's one of the best players.
There you go. That was on
I like that. That was good.
All right. Now, Carlos Beltran, as a Met fan, I know full out. Game 7, playoffs on the line, bases loaded, 3-2 count. Actually, it was an 0-2 count, but it sounds much worse when it's a 3-2 count. Now let's take a look at strike 3 on a nice curveball.
Sounds much worse right now. You're talking about the Mets.
Yeah, shush. It's the only time I get Mets and playoffs in the same conversation, so it's okay. But Big Poppy, Mike Napoli, they have been on fire all playoffs. Napoli's been hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. And you know what? He's right-handed. So he's going to take full advantage of the big monster. Or the green monster. It's all the same. Now,
Please hit that bell. Okay, hang on. Napoli, David Ortiz. Okay, Napoli is one of only 2 players on Boston last series who hit over 300. The other is Ellsbury. Everybody else. David Ortiz is the only person who's batting under 100. He's batting .091. Saltalamacchia, Victorino, Gomes, Drew, Bogarts, all batting under 200. Right back at you.
All right, fair enough. But Game 3, they have Joe Kelly going for the Cardinals in St. Louis. It's 0-1, who hasn't looked good in the regular season. And you're going to have him pitch Game 3 of the playoffs. Now, Ortiz hit that grand slam in Game 2, changed the whole momentum of the ALCS. Shane Victorino hit that grand slam, that won Game 6 for them. The Boston Red Sox have a better bullpen. They have Koi Uehara, Junzi Tuwaza, and I don't know.
They have Pearl Harbor. Yes, we get it. Okay, now you brought up Game 1 whatever the hell you brought up just now. The Red Sox for Game 2, which is why I say they're going to possibly split in Boston. They have Buchholz.
No, they actually flipped that.
Did they really?
They put Lackey in now.
So where's Buchholz on pitch?
3.
Thank you.
And you're right. Buchholz has been weak, but Buchholz was the same pitcher who went 9-0 in his first 9 starts. He had a 1.69 ERA, got hurt, and still made the All-Star team, even though he missed a month and a half because he was so good. When he came back in September, he really turned it back around. And you know what? They're on the big boy stage now. They're ready to go. Jake Peavy's going to pitch Game 4. Jake Peavy has been a great anchor to their rotation. And you know what? I think getting out of Detroit, because Detroit had Max Scherzer, Anibal Sanchez, Justin Verlander. You know what? I'm not shocked that half the team hit for under 300. Adam Wainwright, Michael Wacha, Joe Kelly, Shelby Miller, and whoever else they're going to throw out there, the St. Louis Cardinals rotation is not as good. I have Boston winning in 5, actually. At first, I thought they were going to possibly go 6 or 7, but the more I actually talk about it and the more I bullshit myself, I really think 5 games is a possibility for me. So let's go Boston.
Okay. Now, St. Louis is coming off of a high. Granted, it was Michael Wacha that was pitching. Wacha. He went 2-0 against Clayton Kershaw. One game, I believe they just won 1-0. So I really don't have an argument there because Kershaw did shut them down completely. Boston does not have a single pitcher who's half as good as Kershaw is. Okay, now, but the fact of the matter is, I think the number one thing here to consider is Boston is going to be very slow in the field. There's one reason for that. Their beards are down to their nutsack. It is going to hold them back. It's a terrible argument, but I just have to bring up their beards again because I'm sick and tired. I got to watch them another 2 freaking weeks with these damn beards.
You know, I think if the Red Sox win the World Series, you should grow out one of those beards. I
tried doing it for hunting, but the beard kept getting in my mouth, and I was chewing my face off, and no, it wasn't cool. I don't like it.
You know what, though? The one thing that's going to be taken away is Boston's not going to be running. Yadier Molina is a beast behind the plate. They have a pinch runner on their roster, Quentin Berry. He's not going to get out there. But they're not going to be stealing many bases. Ellsbury is going to be staying put. They're not going to get the extra base.
I think Molina's better than half of Boston's pitchers.
Something like that. But, when all is said and done.
Why do I have control of this?
I'll turn that off.
Is there a Cardinals song? Is there a? That's it. Just there it is. Okay, good. St. Louis in 6. He's got Boston in 5. We'll see what happens. Last time they faced off, Boston won in 4. We'll see what comes on here.
They made a movie out of that too. Fever Pitch.
They did.
They did. It's a good movie.
And you know what? They made a movie about the Tigers. That was with Kevin Costner. And
for the love of the game.
And for the love of the game, great segue. Jimmy Leland, for the love of the game, he's out. He's done. He's hanging it up. Jimmy Leland is going down as one of the best managers in the game. Most memorable managers. 3,500 games he's managed. He's won almost 1,800 games. Excuse me, he had 3 pennants.
Won the World Series.
The Marlins, absolutely. That did 0 for them, which I feel terrible for, especially after the money they put in the past couple of years. But that was back in
1997.
Thank you. That was close. But that didn't say what I wanted to say.
You got it. You got something.
It was there, yeah.
You got enough. Nope, no, you didn't.
No. Was it at least Pro Player Stadium then?
Yes.
Okay, good. I got something. I got something on it.
Red Sox beard.
Let's just call them all Zach Brown beards. I like that better.
Great.
Okay, cool.
I'm down with that.
He was also Manager of the Year in the NL twice and the AL once. Total in 22 seasons, which was really incredible. I had no idea until just a few hours ago. Jimmy Leland was top 10 in Manager of the Year votes 11 times in 22 years. You look at other managers around the league, managers that I could possibly think of that are good enough for that. I hate to just say Joe Torre because a lot of people argue what he had from day one that he came in with. Look at Bobby Cox. Bobby Cox was almost 30 years with the Atlanta Braves. That's a guy who really should have been Manager of the Year 30 times almost, Then you got Joe Madden. Joe Madden, who I feel is underrated.
Very underrated.
Yeah, he is someone who really needs to be, I'm sure by now, he's probably close to this 11 times that he's going to be looked at for Manager of the Year almost.
Almost. He's getting there.
But, I mean, what do you think? What's something that you're going to remember or miss of Jimmy Leland? Not really a memorable guy coming from a New York standpoint, but something you want to look at.
Well, the thing is I'm going to have the show for a little while. It's the Weekly Rant with Just Steve. If you want to call up, 609-975-9689. No, I'm kidding. Still call up, 609-975-9689. The one thing I'm going to notice or remember about Jim Leland is the fact that he's been managing for over 22 years, and I still think that he's looked the same for all 22 years. I think that guy has looked like he's 68 the entire way through. It's incredible. But he's been a great manager for Detroit. Granted, he had a lot of talent to work with. I mean, it's not that hard when you got Verlander, Scherzer, Sanchez, Cabrera, Fielder. Am I forgetting anybody good? Oh, you need that. Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to you.
That's a first. But he had a lot of down years. He won that World Series with the Marlins in '97, that great World Series. But with the Rockies in the early 2000s, he kind of just flamed away. No one expected him to get that chance with the Tigers. Dave Dombrowski took a chance on him, and Mike Ilitch and Dombrowski really did well. And it's going to be sad to see him go. But when you have people like that out there, you're going to be all right. I don't know who's going to come up next for the Detroit Tigers. I don't know who's going to be able to replace them to be able to manage that egos that they have in Detroit.
Lou Piniella.
Isn't he dead? No.
Who?
Oh, Lou Piniella.
No. La Russa. Get La Russa back into the picture.
Apparently La Russa was on the field for Game 6. Leland knew before the end that it was going to be done, and he purposely he had La Russa out on the field, and they were just talking before the game. And he's like, "I'm done. This is it. It's over." And La Russa did the same thing in 2011 after they won the World Series.
It's tough to come back after going out that way. It really is. You look at a lot of players in a lot of sports that want to go out after they win a championship. Look at Michael Strahan with the Giants. He left after they won, especially with the Yankees in 2009. Bringing up a terrible point. I was going to just mention about 4 names, and I literally just had a blank on who left in 2009.
Manager-wise?
No, as far as players go.
On who?
The Yankees in 2009.
They lost Matsui, they lost Damon, they lost
well, you're gonna rattle
Pettit the first time.
The first time, yeah.
And did Rocket go then? No, Rocket was already too busy getting
juiced up again and dealing with Brian McNamee. And I mean, you look at other sports. You know, hockey. A lot of managers leave after they win a championship. Locally, you have Mike Keenan. Mike Keenan, typical one and done, left after they won the Cup in '94. So it's very common that a lot of people want to go out after they win. They're afraid that they may not win again with the team that they have. Now, Jimmy Leland is a little more understandable. Jimmy Leland is maybe to 3, I think it was back-to-back ALCS games. Yeah. ALCS series. So if he's not going to win, you know, it is something to think about. Because he's now left the game, Tom Coughlin is actually the oldest coach/manager of all 4 sports at 67. Jimmy Leland was 69 when he left.
And Terry Collins is the oldest baseball manager now at 64.
There you go.
So New York's just a bunch of old-timers.
That's it.
And Rex.
And Rex.
But, you know, we're back on football, and I just mentioned Rex. And Rex's opponent last week was Tom Brady. And, you know, looking at the stats from last week, Tom Brady, I don't know, he's really been, this season, he looks human. And at 35 years old, he's been in the league for 13 years now.
Is this 2000 for Drew Bledsoe? Yeah.
Is it safe to say that he's done?
It's tough to say. It really is. If there's one person to argue this point with, it is about Tom Brady. You look at his staff right now, his receiving core right now, his offensive line right now. He's not used to any of this. It's almost like everybody's just starting from scratch. You know, it's almost like Eli Manning from a few years ago between Super Bowl wins when he's dealing with a rookie of Victor Cruz, a rookie of Knicks, you know, after the 2007 Super Bowl. They're all trying to be on the same page with the play calling. It's nice that at least he still has Belichick with him, but that's really about it. They got rid of everybody. One person who he can clearly rely on is Edelman. I do see that. I'm drawing a blank with his name right now.
Gronkowski?
No.
Tompkins?
The other wideout.
Dobson?
Yes, Dobson. Dobson, you don't know what he's going to do.
Nope.
He's going to catch the ball. He's going to miss the ball. Screw catching it and not even making it. He's going to run the wrong route, period. How many times did Tom Brady throw behind Dobson? Next thing you know, it's because he didn't even run the right route. And Tom Brady's yelling at him. You're thinking to yourself, oh, he's just thick-headed and he didn't want to screw up. Camera goes over to Dobson. My bad. So is it really Tom Brady?
Are you sure it's not Dobson just trying to make it not seem like it's that bad for Tom Brady? Tom Brady's completion percentage this year is 55.4, behind such all-pros like Chad Penny, Mike Glennon, Geno Smith, Sam Bradford, Christian Ponder. Yes, Christian Ponder. Of course, the three people who have lower completion percentages than Tom Brady is Eli Manning, Josh Freeman, and Michael Vick.
You say, of course, like it's no surprise, like it's happened in the past, bringing up Eli Manning.
Oh, I'm just saying that those are the three guys below.
By the way, I'm doing the show next week by myself.
Well, I will not be here next Tuesday. The show will be on Wednesday.
We'll schedule something, yeah.
I will be going to the Islander Ranger game, which we'll talk about a little later. Hopefully seeing my team win and his team lose, but shit happens. Anyway, back to Tom Brady. 1,708 passing yards, which is behind RG3 and his gimpy legs, Geno Smith yet again, and Eli Manning, who surprisingly has put up 1,900 yards despite his team being 1-6.
Because the running backs have one game of combined 100 yards rushing. They don't rush the ball. He throws the ball. It's terrible.
I think Tom Brady has gotten close to the end. He's been masked by having good talent around him, such as Wes Welker. He had Randy Moss for that year and a half. He had Troy Brown. He's had great receivers all throughout the process. He had Gronk and Hernandez. He's had Ben Coates.
Are you saying the Kraft family is going to let Tom Brady go down like this? If this is the beginning of his demise, you really think they're going to let him go down this bad? They're not going to make... I mean, the trade deadline, they extended the trade deadline now, which is about 2 weeks, I think it is.
Yep.
I think they're going to say, well, if this is the end of Tom Brady, we're not going to let him go. We're going to keep him here, let him deal with the rookie receivers. I can see them letting him deal with this year. They have a lot of time in the offseason to work with, especially now with Gronk coming back healthy, Amendola coming back.
You think Aaron Hernandez is getting
Aaron Hernandez coming back. Everybody's coming back strong and healthy and full of weapons. You don't think they're going to make a move to help Tom Brady out?
I just don't think that they're going to get enough firepower around him to make him good. To make him as good as he was in those MVP years in the middle of the 2000s. I don't think he's going to have the same type of gusto that they had. They don't have much of a running game to speak of, and while they never really did, they did have Dylan.
Stephen Ridley's been off this year.
They did have Dylan for a few years. This rotating running backs doesn't make a difference because Ridley can't catch the ball. And it looks like we actually have a caller. Someone's probably tired of listening to me talk. Hello, you're on the air with Jimmy and Steve. Hello, I'm sorry about that. One more time.
Hello.
What's going on, folks?
Hey.
How you doing?
Who's this?
Good. I got a question for you guys. I know you're one of your sports guys. Question about the goalie situation in New York. With Henrik Lundqvist's contract coming up at the end of this year and things not going well for the Rangers, what's the chances that Henrik Lundqvist ends up in an Islanders uniform next year?
Only you of all people would love this. Everybody, this is Timmy.
I would love this too.
Well, I don't even know how to respond to this question. I know this is directed straight towards me. Henrik Lundqvist is having a terrible year. I can't even back him up. It is just abysmal watching him. I'd rather see Tommy Soderstrom in net for the Rangers right now. It's disgusting.
I personally would love Henrik Lundqvist in Islander jersey. Better than Nabokov. Nabokov is...
There's definitely trouble in paradise in Rangerland.
That is an understatement.
Maybe look to make a trade.
They're going to need to do something for sure because Nash is going to be out now. In all honesty, he's going to be out for more than 2 months. a lot of talk on the street was getting rid of Marion Gabrick a big mistake. I still don't think it was, but for the Rangers to do anything good right now, it's going to be tough. They're going to want to wait and see what the Rangers are going to come back and do on home ice, especially in the Lane Vigneault system, and see how the crowd's going to react and how the fans and the players are going to all react to one another. They're going to have to make something happen. Otherwise, there's going to be something that's going to happen that's going to be bad. And to be honest with you, they're going to look at their top players and who they're going to want to get rid of to really draw some attention.
Let's talk about the promising team in New York right now. The guys in blue and orange. What potential trades do you guys see them making to upgrade their team?
They don't have to make any trades.
I kind of agree. I don't.
What about the goalie situation?
The goalie situation's a problem, but Nabokov signed that contract, which at the time I thought Garceau made a big mistake. I thought they had a better shot at trying to get John Bernier from the LA Kings, who went to the Maple Leafs in the offseason. Or even taking a flyer on Ilya Bizgalov and his
He's questionable, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's still floating around the ECHL right now, but I'm not sure. Unless Hank gets up for the auction block and come trade deadline, I don't think there's really an option for the Islanders.
The Islanders don't have a pot to piss in. They can't afford Lundqvist. And to be honest with you, signing a goalie...
Don't have a pot to piss in?
They don't.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't. Come on. Signing Lundqvist... Signing Lundqvist is like saying that the Mets are going to sign Robbie Cano. It's just not going to happen. The Islanders may need a goalie, but it's nothing really too crazy. Honestly, the Islanders are a top team right now. They're playing well. They're number one in the power play on home ice. They're third in the NHL on power play, I believe it is, at 19 for 60-something. They're playing really well. They're the one team I've noticed. Granted, I don't have NHL center ice. You watch this team, they're one team that plays with constant grit. They're shooting the puck. They're playing the body. They are what you want to see. They're a young team, and all they want to do is win. And it's something the Islanders haven't done really this early. And I mean, you look at last year. Last year, granted, a strike-shortened season, they played really well. This is one time where they're... What was that?
The question is about they'll play 75 games based on how frequently he's in there as opposed to 7
Hell no. Nabokov is not playing 70-plus games. Brodeur doesn't play 70-plus games on a regular basis.
Brodeur's got Corey Schneider to deal with.
That's what I'm saying. He's kind of on pace to do that right now.
He's on pace right for that right now because their backup is Poulin. Who wants to see Poulin in net?
And I'm sure that's what... I'm sure that's what the...
It's early. It's early. You don't want to put Poulin in net. It's way too early. You're only 10 games into the season, tops. They're going to keep Nabokov in, and they're going to roll with him for a while and see what he can do. The only competition that he's going to look at down the stretch, we only have one team coming over that's a new powerhouse, being Detroit. Obviously, he's going to have to battle with Pittsburgh. He's going to have to battle with, I still say Philadelphia, although they're 1-7-1, they are still a physical team, being the Philly Brawlers that they are.
And thank you again for calling. And you're calling back. You got more to say. Sorry about that. I got the little slip finger right there. My finger slipped. But the Philadelphia Flyers, they're not a good team. We're actually, Jimmy's the Weekly Rant will be going to see the Islanders play the Flyers this Saturday night at the Coliseum, and hopefully seeing an Islander victory. But Flyers are a bad team. They fired Laviolette already. Holmgren, the GM, soon to go.
Fired Laviolette 4 games into the season.
Yeah, it's a bad situation down there. But to go back, I don't think Poulin's the answer either. He's not a good goaltender. He showed in the playoffs he really can't stand up to it. And even as
I disagree with that.
all
He
right.
showed pretty good signs in the playoffs. I mean, granted, he was playing games of blowouts, but
It's tough to
he showed some signs of promise.
It's tough to pick up any signs of promise when you're playing against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. I mean, you're not going to look at much when you're going against Malkin and Crosby, who at the time were very healthy, and they were causing problems for the Islanders, big time.
Of course you were.
I just don't. I don't see that the Islanders have any goalies that are made to be for the future. We don't. I keep saying we. I'm not part of the team. I wish I was, but I can't skate. They have Poulin, they have Andres Nielsen down in the minors. They have Miko Kosakin in the minors, who both.
No, he's I think they released him.
That's my even better. But we got to get off the hockey. So thank you so much for calling.
Thanks for calling.
And we're gonna slide back into Week 8 of the NFL. We got some big games for the locals. Giants play the Eagles at the Link. The Jets play the Bengals in Cincinnati, and our undefeated team, Kansas City, who no one would have thought would have been at this point.
We put them on the back burner. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. We spoke about the Broncos and the Saints being the only teams undefeated going through. We had a debate on who we thought would be the last team to be undefeated, and we just let Kansas City blow right over and didn't pay attention really to what Alex Smith is doing, hitting up Avery every game, putting up big numbers, seeing what Andy Reid and his new system is doing out there. They're going to come away with a very easy win this week going up against the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns did not look good this week against the Green Bay Packers, only putting up 13 points against the Packers defense. Brandon Weeden still makes everyone wish for the days of Brian Hoyer, which I'm sure at the beginning of the season no one would have ever thought those words were possible. What do you think about the Giants this week? Going in, facing Michael Vick and the Eagles, Nick Foles already ruled out with the concussion.
I think the same that I thought in the previous 4 weeks, with the exception of last week. They're not going to come away with this victory at all. Well, I said that they were going to lose against the Eagles. They lost against the Eagles. I'm going to say it again. They're going to lose against the Eagles. McCoy did not do as much damage against the Giants last time like I predicted. This time, I don't know what they're going to do, considering what they were able to do against Peterson, stopping him at the run. Their defensive line actually looks good. So who knows what they're doing with McCoy. Selleck hasn't been Selleck. He's just not playing well. I have him on my fantasy team. I regret that move. 3 years in a row now. Mid-season, I pick him up, and he's nothing but a flop for me.
You think you will learn by now?
No, that's never going to happen. I thought I would learn because I didn't pick up Vernon Davis this year, and Vernon Davis has been great for fantasy.
You know where he went to school?
Not where I went.
University of Maryland.
Oh, my God. Who lost 34-10? 34-10 to Wake Forest. I had to bring that up. I forgot to bring it up.
That's all right. It happens.
The Giants are going to lose this week again. Michael Vick is going to play pretty well. I really think he's going to play well. Still, the Giants' secondary is absolute garbage. They looked half decent. And like we said earlier, Antoine Roll actually had an interception. That was great. He ran his mouth all season long, and finally he did something.
It was a one-handed grab. It was actually a really nice catch.
That was his only good play of the year so far.
Now you're just being harsh.
I really am. I have so much spite towards the Giants right now. I feel like a Jets fan.
But I mean, think about it. The Eagles' defense only allowed 17 points to Tony Romo and Des Bryant. You don't see Eli Manning having the ability to run up and down the field?
No, Eli Manning has been missing his targets. He's been missing his targets constantly. I don't see him being able to do it. I mean, you're talking about going up against the Vikings. 200 yards? Really? With the receiving core that he has. Nix, who hasn't caught a ball. He can't catch anything. He really can't. He had 1 week where he had over, I think it was 140 yards. Though he had 9 receptions. He was also targeted, I think, 18 times. Almost 20 times. He missed the ball constantly. Eli actually hit him pretty well that time. There were a couple of drops that he had straight in the numbers, and he dropped the ball every time. And you're looking at Cruz. I don't think Cruz has been targeted as much as he should be.
That's true.
Back-to-back weeks where he's going 5 receptions, 50 yards. Personally, as a Giants fan, I don't appreciate that. I understand he's being double covered and all, but he's a guy who can really battle through that double coverage.
Is he on your fantasy team also?
Yes.
That's why. You hear about Brandon Jacobs, who got a death threat from a fantasy football fan?
That was me.
That was you?
That was me.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
That was not me. That was a Jets fan who stabbed some guy to death 3 years ago.
Killed a man with a trident.
What?
No.
No.
Anchorman reference goes right over your head?
That went right over my head.
Damn.
Yeah.
Moving on. Speaking of Jets fans, though, I got a good game against the Bengals on Sunday at Paul Brown Stadium. Now, I didn't think the Jets would beat the Patriots, so quite frankly, my opinions were diddly squat. And I bet against the Jets against the spread every single week, and I always lose. But
you've been the Mike Greenberg of this whole situation. Anything you say is going the complete opposite direction.
All right, go Bengals. I think,
played.
the
Well played.
Bengals are going to blow out the Jets. I think A.J. Green is going to go all over Antonio Cromartie all day long. And the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, is going to have one hell of a game. I think that's going to happen. Geno Smith's going to throw 17 interceptions. And, go Bengals.
All right. I actually do also have the Jets losing this game. I had them losing this game from the get-go. I honestly thought the only chance the Jets had to win in the next 4 games was against Pittsburgh. And they beat the Patriots. I did not see that happening. Like I said, I still think the Jets are going to lose to the Bengals. And they will lose the following week, which I believe the following week is going to be to the Ravens.
No, the New Orleans Saints.
The Saints, and then I keep mixing this up. In the following 2 weeks, it's vice versa. It's the Ravens and the Bills, and the Bills and the Ravens.
Yep.
I still think they'll be lucky to even split that series. So we'll see what happens there. But this week, you don't see anything too crazy with the Kansas City and Browns, other than they're just going to win?
I really don't. I really think Kansas City is going to win. Alex Smith's still having a good year. They barely got past Houston last week, but I really just don't see Kansas City losing to the Cleveland Browns. I wish I could. I really don't like it when they have the undefeated thing going on for the whole season. It'd be kind of nice to have the KC Broncos game, which will happen in week 9. I'm hoping that's kind of not as big as everyone's trying to make it out to
What
be.
about the 49ers-Jaguars game in London?
I hate the fact that they're in London.
Yeah.
I think it's a horrible, horrible thing. They want to make a franchise out there. So NFL, you're really trying to tell me that you want to have a team in London and then a team in San Diego. How's that for a road trip? You really care about player safety?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Bunch of frauds.
This is the league that makes the most money of any sport. They feel that they can do whatever they want with no repercussions whatsoever. And Goodell has just been going off the wall, wanting to play 1, 2, maybe even 3 games a year now. And now, like you said, he's thinking about bringing a team over there to London and having them play. I don't like what he's doing, especially the rules that he's instituted in the past couple of years, which I'll get into for my rant, which has been really pissing me off lately. But yeah, otherwise, London aside, 49ers are going to go all over the Jaguars. Jaguars are going to go 0-8. Just the way it is. They're going to lose again.
You think the Jaguars are actually going to win a game this year?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's one more than I think they're going to win.
Who was the last team to actually come close to that? I think that was the Dolphins.
To go undefeated.
4 or 5 years ago. No, winless.
Oh, Lions went 0-16.
Lions went
0-16 in 2009.
They did, that's right. And then the following year when they had Batch as their quarterback?
Yeah.
They thought it was like winning the Super Bowl and they won the first game.
Right.
Which was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
But, we got a few minutes left. Before we go into your favorite rant, there was a story coming out of Texas. A prep team won 91-0, and after the game, one of the parents of the opposing team filed a complaint for bullying. I mean, in recent weeks, we've seen high schools take away balls from kids during recess. Now we have people filing complaint charges for losing 91-0. What's going on with this world?
It's like you said earlier. It's what America is coming to.
It's pathetic.
It is pathetic. And at the same time, you mentioned Texas, though. I don't know if anybody caught the game over the weekend. Texas A&M. But Johnny Manziel, they got upset. They got upset by Auburn. 45-41. That was a crazy game. If anybody was watching it at all, in the fourth quarter especially, I don't think Johnny Manziel is going to be anything good in the NFL. Watching him, when the guy runs, first of all, he doesn't protect the ball. And that is his biggest mistake. When he throws the ball, to me, he kind of looks like Phillip Rivers. I don't think he has a great arm. I think it looks a little funny when he throws the ball.
Phillip Rivers is having a great year.
I didn't say anything like that. I don't care. I didn't say what he looks like. I'm just going by appearance here. I don't think Manziel's going to be anything good. You look at Manziel, how many players have actually excelled in college and done nothing? Obviously, most recently...
Tim Tebow?
Thank you. Exactly. I'm not saying he's the next Tim Tebow. I just don't think he's going to be anything good. Plain and simple. But that was crazy.
Just a Rickroll for Tim Tebow. He may get signed by the Rams, actually.
What?
Yeah, you heard me.
So he's not going to just jump the gun and run for governor? That's all he's been talking about. He wants to jump into politics.
Yeah, sounds good for him. At least he'll have a career doing something right.
Apparently, I don't know.
But we're coming towards the end of the show, and I think it's time for what we all listen to every week. It's time for Jimmy's Rant.
This week, Rant, actually has to do with the NFL and their rules. And this is, I think, it's a great time for it, especially this whole new rule that no one else was aware of with the Jets and Patriots game that we had seen this weekend. With you can't push your teammate across the line of scrimmage and as if it's almost rugby. When you're watching that, you always see guys always lift everybody. I don't see a problem with what had happened. They threw a flag. I had no idea what the flag was even for. Goodell is coming up with these rules. Now, whether the players are voting on them or not, from a fan's view, or point of view at least, I don't like any of these rules that are coming up. The biggest one that I have a problem with is the rule in the QB. You can't touch him. You can't, unless it's a solid sack, you can't even touch his helmet. You can't touch his face. If you're not going to sack him, you can't kick him. You can't go anywhere near him. You can't breathe on the kicker. Also, the whole interfering with the kicker problem, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I can't stand it. It's football. Sooner or later, granted, I said earlier that they're making the most money of any sport that there is out there. Clearly, the fans don't care about any of this, I guess. It's going to ruin the game. If Goodell continues to add all of these rules and if the union and the league passes them all, it's going to ruin the game. It's going to change everything. They're still going to make their money, but it's not going to be the football that we all grew up and we all knew. It's going to change everything. And I can't stand all of these rule changes. I had enough of it. I really had enough of it.
You didn't have... So you really have a problem with the QBs and the defenseless receivers? And
Absolutely. There was a call that was made yesterday, too, when I was watching the game. The ball's 8 feet over the guy's head, and they're calling interference on it. I'm sorry. They're both jumping up for the ball. It was a non-catchable ball. Non-catchable. What do you call a pass interference for?
But you look at what's going on with the whole lawsuit with the NFL. You see guys like Junior Seau and a bunch of other linebackers and cornerbacks kill themselves after all the trauma they've had from all the head hits. Now, do you really think it's a problem with the rules? I mean, personally, I think they should change the equipment. And maybe they wanted to worry about all these rule changes to protect people. If you have a helmet that allows you to lead with your head and cause damage, you wouldn't be leading with your head if you didn't have that type of helmet that would allow you to cause that type of damage.
That's true.
And it just seems like these days they got to protect these people because, for our entertainment, we are letting... It's like the gladiator days in which we're going to watch people get mauled to death just for our entertainment. These people have to live a life also.
They do, and it is their job. They are there to provide for their family in the long haul. I understand that. At the same time, as a child, the parents know what they're letting their kids get involved with. They know what the repercussions could be down the line. And in college, when you're ready to go to the pros, you can't tell me in college you're not watching these games. You're not seeing what's going on with all these players getting injured. You're not prepared for that. You're not ready for it. I understand you can't be at sometimes, but it's football, okay? You look at the way the game was played back in the 50s and straight on up. Everything has changed. The equipment has changed. The players have gotten bigger. I understand that, but it's the nature of the game. It's football. You don't see any problems in hockey. You don't see them really going crazy on any of these rules like, oh my God, you can't touch a guy if he's going anywhere near the boards and you can't just grace him. They're letting him hit the player and see what happens, at least.
They just changed the whole icing rules to prevent people from...
Yeah,
they do the hybrid icings.
Right.
And now Brandon Shanahan is forgetting the fact that he was a dirty player when he played in the NHL.
Dick.
And, at least he's better than Colin Campbell because now the Islanders won't get an extra 5 games for every suspension because they're Islanders. But Brandon Shanahan,
And Coletta was just suspended, too.
And Michael Grabner, who is one of the cleanest guys, got suspended for 2 games for hitting somebody who was 5'6" in the head. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, you're 5'6". You're going to get hit in the head.
Yep.
But, that's a good rant. I did like it this week.
Thank you. That sounds like you'd never liked the other one, so that's
I like them all. That's why we listen to the show every week.
It's an improvement.
Next week's show will not be broadcasted Tuesday. We'll probably put it on Wednesday at 8. You can follow us at facebook.com/Jimmy Rants. Or you can watch this clip again if you loved us so much at youtube.com/Jimmy Rants. We still have twitter.com/Jimmy Rants. For Jimmy, I am Steve. Have yourself a great night. Bye-bye.
What do you got this week for the show? That's all.